There is a level of exhaustion that no one talks about out loud. It is not the physical exhaustion of working a 12-hour shift. It is a neurological exhaustion. It is the crushing weight of being financially broken. I want you to look at Samuel. Samuel is 28 years old, and he is standing in the grocery store checkout line right now. His cart has no luxuries. It holds chicken, rice, eggs, and laundry detergent. While the cashier scans the items, Samuel isn't looking at the food. He has his phone hidden in the palm of his hand, staring at his banking app with his heart racing. He is doing desperate mental math, trying to remember if the Netflix subscription has already been deducted or if that car insurance payment hits today or tomorrow. The grocery total comes to $72. He has $75 in his account. The transaction is approved. He lets out a breath he didn't even know he was holding. Samuel survived another day. But he didn't live. And when he opens his social media feeds, what does he find? A legion of financial gurus wearing expensive vests, pointing their fingers in his face and saying, "Your problem is that you don't use spreadsheets. You just need to save 30% of your income. Cut out the coffee, apply the 50-30-20 rule, and you'll be a millionaire." That isn't advice. That is an insult. Telling someone who is living on a razor's edge, who spends 98% of their income just to avoid living on the street, that they need to save 30% is the equivalent of throwing a man into the middle of the ocean with a cinder block tied to his leg and yelling at him, "Just swim faster!" I am Buck, and today we are not going to talk about advanced mathematics. We are not going to talk about portfolio allocation in emerging markets or real estate investment trusts. Today, we are going to destroy the psychology of bankruptcy. We are going to talk about a mechanism so stupidly simple, so ridiculous at first glance, that your brain will immediately want to discard it. But I guarantee you, this is the only combat-tested extraction tactic that works for someone whose bank account is at absolute zero. We are going to build your Micro-Moat Doctrine, and we are going to start right now. Before I hand you the weapon, I need to show you why the old tools fail in the modern warfare of 2026. You've heard of the famous 50-30-20 rule, right? The theory dictates that you should spend 50% of your income on basic needs, 30% on wants and lifestyle, and 20% on investing and saving. It's a beautiful theory, flawless. If you live in a 1990s television commercial. But let's look at the facts on the ground. This year, nearly half of the new adult generation is living strictly paycheck to paycheck. They're carrying the heaviest personal debt load in modern history. When you are broke, the 50-30-20 rule does not exist. Your real rule is 95-5-0. 95% goes to rent, transportation, and food. 5% goes to "please don't let my tire blow out this month." And 0 goes to the future. And there is a second lethal factor, the era of income chaos. The economy has mutated. Tens of millions of Americans and global citizens today rely on app-based gigs, freelance work, side hustles, and temporary contracts just to stay afloat. How do you apply the rule of saving 20% of your paycheck if your paycheck doesn't exist? One week you make $200 driving. The next week you close a project and make $800. The third week you get sick and make $0. Your primitive brain does not know how to process percentages of chaos. And what happens when a broke person attempts to follow traditional advice? Elena tried it. She read a finance book. She set up an automatic transfer to pull $300 out of her account every Friday and throw it into savings. She felt adult and responsible for 72 hours. On Tuesday, her car's water pump broke. The mechanic charged $280. Elena had no cash flow. What did she do? She logged into the app, grabbed the $300 she had just saved, and transferred it right back into her checking account to pay the shop. The consequence? The mechanic got paid. But Elena's psyche was shattered. She felt the sting of failure. She proved to herself that the narrative she carried was real. I'm just bad with money. Every time I try to save, something goes wrong. It's impossible. The shame spiral begins. She abandons the spreadsheets. Financial avoidance takes the wheel, and she stops checking her account balance altogether, letting debts grow in the dark like black mold. We are not fighting a mathematical war. Math says $100 saved is $100 saved. We are fighting a psychological war, and you need a weapon that hacks your own brain. Forget percentages. Forget grand long-term plans. We are going to focus on instinctual survival and repetition. The tactic is called the daily rescue rate, and here are the precise execution instructions. Every single time, and I mean absolutely every time, any money enters your life, you are going to take exactly $15 and transfer it to an isolated location. Did an app-based driving shift and made $60? You transfer 15. Received your bi-weekly corporate paycheck? You transfer 15. Sold an old jacket online for $30? You transfer 15. I can hear your rational brain screaming at the screen right now. $15, Buck? That's your grand master plan? $15 won't even buy half a bag of groceries today. That's not going to change my life. You are not listening. This is not about the $15. This is not about the math. This is about identity and neurology. This is about creating an impenetrable psychological blockade between you and the line of absolute bankruptcy. This is about proving to your traumatized brain that you are no longer a passive victim of the system. For this nuclear tactic to work, the logistical rules must be strict. Rule 1, the isolated terrain. You are not going to leave these $15 in the same account you used to buy bread. You're going to open a completely new savings account at a different digital bank than your primary one. It must start from zero, no history, no contamination, and it will not have a physical debit card. You must name this account in the app. Call it the Moat or Freedom Protocol. Rule 2, the extraction trigger. You need to define your personal extraction trigger. What is the minimum amount you need to receive for the $15 rate to be activated? If your income is project-based, the trigger might be, for every payment over $50 I receive, $15 gets extracted. If you are a standard salaried employee, the extraction can be made on every paycheck and every side hustle payment, no matter how small. Rule 3, manual labor. Automation is forbidden. Every guru in the world tells you to automate your finances. I'm giving you a direct order to do the exact opposite. You're not going to set up an automatic transfer. Automation removes the pain and the glory of the process. Your broken brain needs to feel the victory. Every time money hits, you're going to open the app with your own hands and physically transfer, with your own fingers, those $15. You're going to watch the balance of the new account rise from 15 to 30 to 45. Your brain loves pattern recognition and quick dopamine hits. By doing the manual labor, you are digging a new neural pathway. You are teaching your brain a new conditioned reflex. We receive resources, and the very first thing we do is secure our base. If your income is low, you do this and accumulate $60 in a month. $60 does not make you rich. But $60 is infinitely more potent than the absolute zero you hold today. $60 is the brutal difference between borrowing money to buy antibiotics or solving the problem yourself like a sovereign adult. Why does the micro-moat work when everything else fails? There are 4 fundamentals of warfare operating in your favor here. 1, the low tactical requirement. Your mental bandwidth is already maxed out. You are fighting fatigue, fighting bosses, fighting traffic, remembering to pay the power bill, trying to calculate if you can save 18% of your variable income on the 3rd Tuesday of the month will cause you to collapse. $15 requires 0 mental energy. You don't have to think, just execute the transfer. It's easy enough not to hurt your daily budget, but significant enough to compound volume quickly. It is the Goldilocks zone of human behavior. 2, breaking visible anxiety. When you try to save a massive chunk of money fast in one account and then have to use that money to pay for an emergency, you feel like you failed. With the daily rescue rate technique, you watch your moat grow. And because the deposit is small and constant, it is perceived by your brain as a game. You gamify your survival. When your tire blows out, and you have $200 in that moat, you do not feel like a failure for using it. You think, I built this exact ammo cache for this exact firefight. You go to the tire shop, buy the tire with your own cash, and resume transferring $15 the next day. No credit card debt was created. The bankruptcy cycle was broken. 3. The rigid protection factor, zero risk. Your fear of investing is anchored in the fact that you think you won't be able to touch the money if the world ends. Bad advice tells you to lock money up in long-term retirement accounts. When you are broke, you need liquidity, not restricted funds. The moat sits in a simple, high-yield savings account. It is available 24 hours a day. That safety cord is what will give you the courage to keep saving. You know the money is your standing army. 4. The transformation of the soul itself, the real effect. This is the true power, the secret hidden in the trenches of economics. When you live month after month owing everything, your identity merges with your bank account. You begin to believe deep in your DNA the following sentence: I am a bill payer. I was born to owe. I was not born to accumulate. And your daily actions faithfully obey that slave identity. But when you pick up your phone and transfer $15 religiously, week after week, when you stare at that screen and see a balance of $180 that you built from the dirt, your identity cracks. A new narrative is forged. Wait a minute. I am a person who builds reserves. I am someone who accumulates capital. I retain power. The moment your identity shifts, your actions shift. People who prove to themselves that they can save $15 start hunting for extra shifts. They start standing up straighter at work and asking for raises. They stop viewing themselves as victims of the system and start acting like strategic operators. Studies on freelancers and gig economy workers revealed an overwhelming statistic. Workers who possessed a meager emergency fund of just $500 in the bank were statistically 3 times more likely to triple their income the following year. Why? Because someone with a $500 moat has oxygen in their brain. They are not panicking. They can reject an abusive client. They can risk paying for a simple technical certification. They have tactical maneuvering room. Desperation paralyzes. Cash in the bank unleashes constructive aggression. Samuel, that guy at the grocery checkout with a racing heart, if he applies the $15 Micro-Moat protocol starting today, in 6 months he will have enough cash in the fund to never again feel that burning in his chest when swiping a piece of chicken across the register. The numerical value didn't change his life. What changed his life was the neurological restructuring of confidence. Peace of mind replaced panic. And with a peaceful mind, he can start figuring out how to truly win, instead of just surviving until Friday. If you're in the mud today, do not think about the $20,000 the experts say you should have. Think about your first $15. Think about your first $400 moat. That is how empires start. 1 millimeter of conquered territory at a time. The fact that you are absorbing this doctrine today proves your survival instinct is alive. You were just using the wrong tools and listening to cowardly generals. But theory without action is just entertainment for bankrupt intellectuals. Feeling inspired by this audio will not add a single cent to your account if you close this window and go back to acting like a victim of circumstance. The capitalist world will continue grinding down your time. You need an infrastructure. You need clear marching orders for every day of the year. It was for men and women who decided to cut the umbilical cord with poverty that I built our definitive wealth logistics arsenal. I call it the Order of the Day, 365 high-impact actions for your financial sovereignty. This manual was not designed to make you feel warm and fuzzy. It was designed to mutate your brain and your bank account. It will provide you with the exact directives to scale your daily rescue rate from $15 to $50, and from $50 to massive deployments into solid investment funds. It will teach you the relentless tactics to armor the new financial identity you just created against the saboteurs in your own family and social circle. And it will replace your bill-induced paralysis with a cold execution protocol. Wake up, read the day's mission, execute, and secure your perimeter. Unrestricted access to the Order of the Day manual is unlocked right now. The enlistment door is located right below in the description of this video and strategically pinned in the first comment. The capital you deploy to access this war doctrine is negligible. It is a tiny fraction of the amount of money your undiagnosed anxiety causes you to bleed every month on quick relief purchases. The return is the absolute rescue of your right to choose. You can keep doing mental gymnastics in the grocery line forever. Or you can open your banking app today, transfer your first $15 to the isolated terrain, and initiate the hostile takeover of your own life. The ammo is loaded and waiting for your touch. Maintain your brutal focus, build your moat, and do not refuse your freedom. I am Buck, and I will see you marching tomorrow morning.